welcome to a special edition of LinkedIn Power Surge Chat. So nice to be able to have this time to put a spotlight on my top client. I'm gonna say that, and I'll explain why I say that without question. But so nice to have time with her. But let me just introduce myself for those who maybe just, new to this community or to the viewership. I am Clarine Mitchell, the owner of TCM Communications. I'm a solopreneur in the greater Milwaukee area, but I serve clients throughout the country and throughout the world, actually. And I am known as the LinkedIn Results Igniter because I empower my clients to successfully, if I can pronounce words correctly, I empower my clients to successfully leverage LinkedIn to generate results. And those are specifically, or majority of those are entrepreneurs and corporate executives. And so the whole thing with LinkedIn, it's the number one social media platform for professional and business purposes. But many people struggle with getting traction and getting results from the platform because they really use the platform in the same way they use other platforms. But that doesn't work. LinkedIn is unique. It's unique in the fact of how it's created and the best practices and ways of doing things that allow for users to generate results and generate results organically. So that's where I come in. I take my clients from having either no presence on the platform and or no presence and little results to having solid, bold presence on the platform and generating results on a consistent basis. I do that through one-on-one coaching, group training, event speaking, and I'm an author of a LinkedIn book as well. All right, so enough of that. That is who I am. And again, LinkedIn is not like the other social media platforms. It was created specifically for users to get results. So if you're struggling with getting results, I hope you have pen and paper and you're going to really be taking notes from my special guest because she has risen above just being in the shadows on LinkedIn to really rocking the platform and specifically shining online and getting results, growing her presence in a very short amount of time, continuously growing that and getting results. And so welcome, Rosalind Price. So nice to have you here with me. And I'm going to say this right off from the beginning. Maybe there are other clients of mine, of all the clients that I have that have great results, but Rosalind communicates her results to me. So I know the results that she has on the platform, and I've tracked her from the beginning all the way through. So I know what her history has been, the impact of really her working with me. I know it more directly, and that's why I can boldly say she's my top client. And so that's why it's an honor to have this time with her to speak for herself and say that versus me always bragging about her. And because quite often I'll do trainings, presentations, and I'll have her experience or her successful journey on LinkedIn as a case study. But now she can share it herself directly. So welcome and introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And then we'll get into a series of questions. How about that?
Sounds good. Clarine, thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to engage with you. You all can see that I'm blushing if you cannot see behind the makeup, but I am. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Honored to be here with you all. As Clarine stated, I am Rosalind Price. I am the CEO of R. Richard Price Consulting. As you can see from my banner, I am a transition and change strategist, and I'm an organizational development practitioner. What that means in plain speak is that basically what I do is I help individuals, leaders, and organizations implement and execute effective and successful business and change strategies. Another way of saying that is I help to make sure that individuals and businesses get unstuck or don't get stuck when they are trying to navigate through change and trying to maneuver some of the chaos related to change, ensuring that they're looking at everything from a holistic perspective and making sure that they are setting themselves up for ongoing sustainment and ensuring that they are aligned to their vision, mission, and values.
Well said. When did you begin your business? When did you launch your business?
Literally the first day we met.
I know. I want to be the first.
If it wasn't the first day, it was in that month.
Yes.
And it was a soft launch.
Right, but it was the timing of it, and again, that's where I've had the pleasure of being with you along this whole journey. And that journey began in May of 2020, right?
Right.
And so now for us to be at this time in September of 2021, and you've gone consistently through this process, and that I applaud you for, because unfortunately some people, they give up too quickly, too easily. They don't put in the work, and you have put in the work consistently from day one. And I have loved seeing that. And I'm just going to stop talking because I will just get into things, and I'm going to start asking questions instead. And then, so for those who are joining us, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. It is so great having you. We're going to go through a series of questions, and then at the end we'll open it up for Q&A for those who are in the chat as well. So as we're going through, if you have questions, just put them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of the series of questions that we're going to flow through. All right. So as a foundation, let's talk about, what was your LinkedIn life looking like, so to speak? What was your LinkedIn presence, your profile, like, let's say in April of 2020?
It was non-existent. I had a profile, but I really didn't. It was non-existent. I had a few connections, and it was just with people from my internal organization and people that maybe knew me from other social media platforms. My picture it was there, but it really was not. It wasn't a clear picture. It wasn't a fair representation or a clear representation of myself and my brand, but it was truly non-existent. And I never posted or engaged on it at all. I just literally signed up.
Signed up and kind of had a skeleton profile, pretty much, right?
Yes.
A
Yes.
skeleton profile with key sections missing. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was there. Do you remember when you created your LinkedIn profile?
Oh my goodness. I don't remember. Probably when it was all the buzz, when the corporations were saying, create a LinkedIn profile. So of course, when we started working together, you saw I had the standard resume, written start dates, and even my about section was the standard, introduction of who I was, and no zhuzh, no flavor.
No shine. There was no shine there at all, right? No shine. And I appreciate how you said it's like, so often in the corporate world, even in university world, people are pushed to create, oh, you should have a LinkedIn profile. But it means nothing if it's not completed, right? It works against you versus working for you. So if the profile is not optimized, if you're not doing the content. Okay. So prior to us meeting, the profile was very minimal. But then we met, and you decided to become a client. So share with us why you decided, what made you make that decision to become a client of mine.
It was a no-brainer. First of all, you and I were a part of this great business program under a great mentor ourselves. And you were giving out at that time, you were offering free consultations just to assess and look at our LinkedIn profile and give some standard insights, right? So who wouldn't sign up for that if you're not only trying to build up your subject matter expertise, but starting a business like myself? Because as you always state, LinkedIn is not always for looking for jobs. It's not for job seekers only. Exactly. It is also for entrepreneurs. And so I had the first session with you, and just from the moment of hello and how you went through my sections and you just started rattling off where I had opportunity. And the biggest thing for me, and it was actually two things. The first one was, you got my vision. You totally understood it, and you helped me articulate it in such a way that it literally brought me to tears. literally. We were crying
Take a
and
moment. Yeah, like
tears
you're
rolling,
taking me back to that. Yes.
tears
It was a
rolling.
powerful session.
It was. The second biggest thing that made me a believer is that you practice what you preach. So, you know how you always tell us that your LinkedIn profile is your brand. And so when you showed me yours and I looked up yours, I mean, you were shining all over the place. And it was not just about the number of people that were following you, but it was your engagement and how you were marketing and branding yourself and the content that you would post and that you would create. It was true substance, and I could truly connect and truly understand what you did and the value of the work you bring.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But that should be not but yeah, it should be true for everyone. Your LinkedIn profile should leave no questions about what you do, what your area of expertise is. It should scream that. It shouldn't be where people have to really dig or have to, try to figure out and make their own interpretations of that. And people should practice what they preach. So I appreciate that you were able to see that I practice what I preach, because the more I use the platform, the more then I can share with my clients. So me using it daily means I understand it inside and out. And because I understand it inside and out, I provide that greater level of value to my clients. But it is important that the profiles, yes, that there's no questions there. There's no mystery there. And it's amazing to me how and sometimes people, they start the process of creating a whole bunch of content, right? And then their profiles are just like skeleton profiles, right? Missing information. And it's like, so what if someone sees their content and they're impressed with their content, and then they're curious to like, who is this person? And then they go back to their profile and like they lose interest, because it's like there's no picture, or there's no this, or there's no that, or and so it starts with that foundation. So
Yeah.
again,
There's no connection, there's no relatedness.
but again, so why did you decide that was the time that you needed to commit to hiring someone to help you level up on LinkedIn versus you just do it yourself?
Well, first of all, I wanted to do it right. I wanted to be successful. I wanted it to be effective, and I wanted to be efficient. I didn't want to, although I was tactical in the way in which I built up my profile, I wanted to move. It was time for me to execute and move. I needed to start broadening my network from a subject matter expert perspective and also from an entrepreneur perspective. And so I didn't have time to waste. And so I just seized the moment, quite honestly.
Good for you. Good for you. And that's why it worked for you, because you had that commitment from the beginning. So we started out, so you talked about how we started out with really an intro or complimentary brief session that I was providing to others in our network at the time. But then you decided to actually become a client, and that began with then you having a LinkedIn Power session. Can you describe what that LinkedIn Power session was like? And that was way back in May. So my business has expanded since then, and I have a LinkedIn Power package that's so much more. But way even back, I shouldn't say way back, but yes, back in May of 2020, even with just the LinkedIn Power session, you just like exploded from that. So talk about what that experience was like for you, that LinkedIn Power session.
You're right. I did. And I mean, it was literally what it's called. It was a power session. It was a 2 hour intense, good intense exercise where we actually went through. Well, first of all, you did the grounding, as I stated, getting to know me, understanding my business, truly understanding my voice, how I talk, how I communicate, the services that I provide, who my ideal clients or people that I want to connect with from a networking perspective. So we did that. And then we went through all of the key sections. You gave me education on not just the sections. So it wasn't just this tactical thing. You were showing me how to get the best out of each section, how LinkedIn and how the rhythms and what's the word that we use? The algorithms, how the algorithms work. You also were showing me the importance of my social index. You were showing me all of the importance of all of those good reports that LinkedIn provides. You were just giving me a lot of substance. Then, not only that, you were teaching me how to post so that I could get the visibility, even down to being succinct with my post, how to use the appropriate hashtags, even how to go and find key if I wasn't able to create some content at the time, but there was something that I was thinking about or an article that resonated with me, how to put that even in my voice and referencing that. We went through that. You were showing me key tools outside of LinkedIn on how to make my pictures pop, how to give credit. I mean, how to look at all types of fact-finding resources. It just in 2 hours, there was so much and I had so many notes and I had so many plans. There was no way that I could not have taken off immediately because of the substance that you gave me. And I mean, it was well worth what I paid then. And if I still needed assistance, I would pay what you charge now.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. So you referenced the social selling index. And I don't have your current one, but I do have some numbers that I want to just share so people can see how you went to work right immediately. So for those who are not familiar, LinkedIn provides this phenomenal assessment because, again, LinkedIn is all about the users getting results. So just like for me, my success as a LinkedIn coach and trainer is based upon the success of my clients. Same thing is true with LinkedIn. LinkedIn measures their success or the value of the platform based upon the results the users, or as they call us, members, get. And so with that, there's data assessments that they provide to help us make sure that we're on the right track. And one of those is the social selling index. And so as a grounding point, as a foundation point, right at the beginning of the working client relationship, we do the social selling index. So that's the foundation. And then my clients hold me responsible for them improving based upon what we go through in the power session and outside of that. And so in May of 2020, Rosalind's social selling index, and we would have to do a whole session on this for you to get the details of social selling index if you are not familiar, but we can't do that now. So I'm just going to share the numbers and so you can see the difference. So her industry ranking was 37. Her network ranking was 74, and her overall index was 12. By November, and even before then, there were changes, there was improvement, but I'm just going to use the time frame from May to November. It's still a relatively short period of time. So her industry went from 37 to 3. Mind you, my goal with my clients is to have rankings at 5% or lower. She was there. 5% or lower. She's probably at number 1 now, probably, if not very close to it. And her network rank, again, in May was 74. By November, it was down to 17. And again, I pushed my clients to be 5% or lower. She did a tremendous job from 74 to 17. And again, she's probably at 1. I know she's 5 or lower. I know that now. Her overall rank, again, in May was 12. Now this number, instead of low, it needs to be high. It went up to 68. And I pushed my clients to get to 75 or higher. She put the work in. And I loved how Rosalind, she was obsessed. And that word obsessed doesn't even really capture it all. She was obsessed with her social selling index. Literally, because she understood the value, the importance of, she understood the correlation between that number, those numbers, and her getting results on the platform. And she went to work and she stayed at work making those changes, and the improvement was there. But yes, so the power sessions, um, and like you said, Rosalind, they're called power sessions on purpose because that's what they are. And they're work sessions. We work. We don't just talk, and I don't just share insights and all of that. No, we're strategically working from top to bottom, going through information regarding, after we go through and complete or optimize the different sections, the key sections, we're talking about your network, how to expand your network based on best practices or key strategies, and then content. We spend a lot of time on that because that's what drives really your results on the platform. But power session, because we work that whole time, and even still in those 2 hours, and I'm guessing you'll agree with this. We don't cover everything because there's so much to know about LinkedIn. I still learn more about the platform on a daily basis, but it gives a good foundation, a good start to get you going. But power sessions, because it's intense. Like no breaks. I generally give no breaks. We just work it through.
No breaks. And as you said,
fast.
you can't cover everything in 2 hours. But what's great is that you have the great book, your book that I purchased, and I want to say I won something else. I think I might have won the book twice, but I gifted it to somebody else for being a part of this Facebook group and getting results. But you have the reference book. So we have the reference book. And the other thing that Clarine is not sharing is that after those sessions, Clarine's looking at your content and she inboxes you with suggestions or pumping you up and congratulations. Yeah. Or if there's additional insight that she sees an opportunity, she's doing that. And she also will comment on your content, not to be inauthentic, but to truly show engagement and to help drive conversation, because the engagement is also what pushes your numbers and those percentages to where they need to be. And then I was faithful before my business really took off in attending these sessions. Like, I think I was one of the first always dialing in. And so I was using the knowledge from those sessions and what I had every day and just really taking advantage of the time that Clarine was offering to us.
That's another good point, Rosalind. Thank you for sharing, because it wasn't just the power sessions that you took and then just like, okay, be gone, Clarine, I got it now. No, you stayed engaged with my Facebook group, right? And at that time I was doing weekly LinkedIn Power Surge chats. And so you were always present and engaged and soaking up more information. And as you stated, yes, I can see everything. That's one of the aspects about what I do. Like, I don't have to wait for people to tell me or give me updates. Nope, I already see it. I already know what you're doing or what you don't do, because it's public. It's on LinkedIn. So I'm tracking, I'm looking, and I'm seeing, and I'm supporting through the engagement. But I always have the critical eye too, because I want you to succeed. But yes, you put in the work, and it wasn't just in the power session. It was continuing to come and get more information, more insights from my private Facebook group, and soaking up as much as you can, and then putting it into practice, not just listening to it, but putting it into practice.
And let's not forget the useful master classes too that you helped.
Those two. You was getting it all the way around. So the power session, the private Facebook group, the master classes, my book, you were getting it all the way around. You took it seriously as far as starting off your business and owning your brand, right? Not leaving it for chance, or not letting it be where, okay, well, it's supposed to just happen magically, because it doesn't just happen magically. You have to put it in the work, and that's what you did. And yeah, that's why you're my top client. And if any of my clients are watching and you want to dispute that, all right, show me your receipts, as we often call them. Your receipts or your results. Come on, share. I'm ready.
No, I'll be happy to be dethroned. If we're all successful, I'll be happy to be dethroned.
There's room for more. There's room for more, right? It doesn't have to be a competition. Okay, so let's get into some more questions. How can you describe what your LinkedIn presence is now? So we've talked about how your LinkedIn presence was prior to becoming my client, and then you going through the power session and all the other resources. how would you describe your LinkedIn presence now? Are you
I'm
proud of it?
I'm addicted to LinkedIn, and yes, I'm proud of
Another one. Yes, another one.
it. You've converted me. I'm addicted to it, and I will go back and read my about section
Mm-hmm.
over and over, and still I get emotional because it
Oh.
just becomes more and more me, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we nailed it. But my presence is, I've made so many connections that it's just really unbelievable, as you stated, in the short amount of time. My presence is known from the picture, the big hair,
The beautiful photo. Yes.
the big hair, and then the tag on my banner, "Think Outside the Box," which is totally me, which we helped craft together. And so my presence is not only just from me connecting with people that can help to make me smarter, but I've connected with people who are now tapping into my services. So I don't know if you want me to go into this now, so you just let me know.
Well, now hold up. So talk more though about your, so like generally when I do presentations, sometimes I'll have the before and after screens, right?
Yeah.
So how would you compare your before LinkedIn presence to your now LinkedIn presence? Don't laugh.
I'm laughing because what I'm about to say is so funny. The first, the first profile is struggle.
Okay.
The other one is like started from the bottom. Now we here.
Yes, because of the growth. Yes. Like there's like so night and day is really what I'm thinking. Like there's no comparison between what your presence was there to what it is now, where it's so dynamic now, where you're shining. Yeah, there's no
Well,
comparison.
literally, Clarine, like the picture was like taken at night and it was fuzzy. And then my new picture is like bright gold.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. The first one was beautiful. You were beautiful in that one too. It just wasn't appropriate for the platform, right? Right. But okay, so let's go on because you're anxious to share
I
results, and
do.
I'm anxious to hear as well. So, have you, before we get into results, I want to know because this is a challenge I see with some people on LinkedIn, where they pretty much hand off their brand to someone else, where they have virtual assistants or others who are doing their content. So has that been your approach with LinkedIn? I love the expression. Has that been your approach with LinkedIn at all? Or have you owned your brand directly yourself as far as your content? Because a lot of times people say that it's just too hard, it's too complicated, or it takes too much time with the content, so they can't do it. And so they have someone else do it. And it's not the same approach, or it doesn't come across authentic. So I want to like for you to share.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it PG. I was gonna say HE double hockey sticks. No, I do not.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Here's the thing. So LinkedIn is all about relationship building, and I might have frozen up a little bit. Can you still see me?
I can and hear
Okay,
you.
great. And hear me. Okay. So it's all about relationship building. And especially in my business, is about relationship building. And so for me,
For
how
everyone
do
on
you get to
LinkedIn.
know me if somebody else's voice is behind my platform?
Right.
So it's me speaking, it's me posting the content, it's me engaging,
Good.
it's me that you're actually interacting with. And that is so important to me. In addition to that, if you see my picture and you read my about section, it's all about being authentic. And I don't think I can be authentic by having a ghost writer for my LinkedIn
No, you cannot. So thank you.
platform. So no. Not
We
at
would
all.
have had to have a talk afterwards if your answer was any different. Because and actually I can pretty much go through LinkedIn and just scroll the news feed and tell those who it's pretty much is like roboting. Because again, as you mentioned, it's all about authentic networking, building relationships. And you can't build relationships with a robot. And that's what it is, or it becomes, whether you're using an automated system or whether someone else is doing it for you. No one can be you, no one can be us but us, right? It's only one of us, and it's important that we come across authentically on the platform. It doesn't matter as much on other platforms, but on LinkedIn, yes, you have to be your authentic self, and it has to be you managing your brand. So I'm proud of you for that. Good for you. See, but that feeds into why you get the results that you get, because it is you. You've taken total 100% ownership of your LinkedIn presence, and you get the results because of that. I'm seeing, comments about time for a refresher, transitions, warrant updates, and strategizing. Indeed, indeed. Oh, strategizing. That's one of Rosalind's favorite words, mine too. But
Yes.
yes. Okay, so moving on. Can you walk us through the results you directly can link to your LinkedIn presence? So, results that you've been able to generate. She can't wait. Results that you've been able to generate for your business, and without a question, without a doubt, without, with no disputes, from LinkedIn. And how soon were you able to get some results? So, we did our power session in May, right?
Did our power session in May. Did you see me doing the rock up like I was about to jump in for double dutch?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
we did
can't
our
wait.
power session in May, and once I posted my picture and my new about section and my updates, I got my first speaking engagement, which was with the major organization, and National Association of African Americans in HR. And
That
it was
happened when?
that was it was I got the invitation maybe a month or two after you and I worked together. Now we didn't get it scheduled until after because there were some delays, but it was in the works. It was signed up. We were ready to go. So I got
Wow.
that. That was
Wow.
and that was literally from when I asked them what made them outreach to me. They said, yes, we read your bio and we saw your references, and yes, you're highly skilled. But if I'm being honest, they said relatedness. We knew you were an ally when we looked at your picture and there was something authentic. So that was that. Are you ready for me to go on?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So after that, I got invited to tape a podcast and with Atard Leadership Academy, which is also an organization that is focused on leadership development and training, and
Mm-hmm.
focused also on women empowerment
Mm-hmm.
and women entrepreneurs and women in different skills. And after the first podcast, I got invited back to do another podcast. So there's that. Then
So that was a result of your LinkedIn
that
profile
was a
as well.
result of LinkedIn. She scrolled my profile and she said she may not want to talk to me, but I'm going to just go ahead and try.
Wait a minute. She thought that you wouldn't respond. She thought that you were too busy to and this was you when you were just starting with your business. You were in the newbie phase with your business, right? The startup phase.
Yeah, just a newbie in my business, but of course been in the business for over 20 something years. But with my
Comfort with
business
your
just starting, yes. And so, but she of course was looking at my extensive background and my history, not even the entrepreneur start, but she was more excited when I said, oh, I started my consulting business that she saw. And so that was from my LinkedIn profile. So there was that. I got also, let's see what else. Oh, I got recently,
mm-hmm.
there's two things. One of them I cannot share in detail, but I'll share enough where
Right.
everybody can get the zhuzh. So one, I got a client from being on your LinkedIn live session, and they also looked at my profile and saw my connection there and my history and what I did right now. And then they were impressed with what I was saying on your LinkedIn live as far as women in entrepreneurship, being a Black business owner, and the services I provide. So I got a long-term client there. And then the other, which is major.
Wait a minute. Can we take a pause?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
So, because it's like all different layers here, as far as your involvement and you taking advantage of opportunities. So, for those who may not be familiar, I have a LinkedIn live show called Imposter Syndrome Disrupted that I broadcast every second and fourth Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and it's focused on empowering women entrepreneurs. And so there's opportunities for business owners and others to partner with me for different episodes. And that's a financial arrangement. And Rosalind partnered with me for an episode. And that means, you get your logo placement, you can come on and promote your business and talk about events you have coming up or whatever the case may be. But she's been on multiple episodes, and the results that she got from being on the episode happened almost instantaneously.
It literally, I was getting inboxed
while we were doing our post show.
Yeah, before we closed conversation.
Our debrief.
And she literally was like, "Can we get on a Zoom?" And I go, "I'm not dressed." But we made it happen. We closed the deal.
That is phenomenal. And then you had another one you wanted to share?
Yeah, this is they're all big. But this one's really huge, especially for my business. And so this one is a result of my LinkedIn profile and my platform and my content. And so there's a major organization, I can't name them because of confidentiality, but
right.
They outreach to me. And one reason they outreach to me was multi-layered, for me to be a content expert on their platform, and then potentially also be a practitioner to partake in some of their services. But as we were talking, he goes, "I'd like to hire you."
Wow.
So working with a major organization, company. And so the deal is in the works and we're putting in the final touches, and that is slated to be a multi-year contract.
Woo!
And that's from the profile.
So the whole point of this, I hope people are hearing and understanding that, again, LinkedIn is not just for job seekers. LinkedIn, and with all these examples that Rosalind is sharing of her receipts, her LinkedIn receipts, her LinkedIn results as an entrepreneur, how you can get, and all the congratulations are there in the chat.
Thank you, everybody.
You can get quality business leads from LinkedIn. You can build your business per LinkedIn if you effectively use the platform, and you can continue to grow your business on LinkedIn. It is not just for job seekers. It is for business owners as well. But you have to know how to use the platform based on best practices. You have to have the mindset, and even, doing your LinkedIn power session, that's a part of the process, getting that mindset that's appropriate for LinkedIn, because then that guides you in how to use it. But yeah, wow.
I have one more thing to add too. And I don't know if people are really picking up on this.
You have another receipt?
No, I want to add this. This is major to the receipts though.
Okay.
So each of us has other people that are doing the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so Clarine's telling you about how to use the platform, how to leverage it, and all those multi-layers. But the one special and critical thing is that if you're not hearing me again, Clarine helps you tap into your uniqueness and how to articulate and display that. So every person that I've contacted with and that I've contracted with, I'm getting visibility and partnerships and revenue because of my uniqueness. Yes, my long resume and skill, if you go and you look it up, I've been in the business over 20 something years, but it's my uniqueness and my approach and how I approach it, how I articulate, and how I resonate with the folks that I'm partnering and networking with. And Clarine helps you truly put that together because people aren't really going down that much and looking at your resume that long. They're looking at the banner, they're looking at that about section, and then they're like, okay, they got the skills. And then once they're talking to you, they
It's
can
up to
really
you
see
then.
who you are who you present.
Right. It's up to you then to finalize it, right? To really clinch it. And as you say, like, you have to stand out. There's so many other people who do what you do, who do what everyone, there's others who do or have the same title or do the same work or in the same industry. You have to stand out. There's, ooh, so inching or closing up to getting close to 8 million LinkedIn members is probably the last number I think is 755 million LinkedIn users, right? In all industries that there are, right? But there's tons of people who do what you do. Not you, Rosalind, but yeah, you and everyone else, but you have to stand out. And so I can say without a doubt, with every client that I have, each power session is different. There's no power session that is the same because it's, as you said so well, and thank you, I work to push you to really hone in on what differentiates you from others, right? What's really your voice, what's really your persona and your profile, being able to speak that, express that. But you have to stand out on the platform, and when you stand out, that's what draws that those potential or those opportunities, as you've been able to generate over and over and over again, right? All of those receipts, and there's probably more that you have as well.
There's more in the works. I just can't speak on it yet.
Right, right. But I love how, it started for you, and the process is different for everyone. There's no time frame that's regimented with it. It's different per, individuals, but I love how you got receipts right from the beginning, right? And then you've continued to since May or probably in early June, there shortly after we had a power session, and then all the way through to even here recently. So phenomenal. Yes, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. So how would it have been, let's say hypothetically, this is truly hypothetical. Yeah. I'm almost emotional with this because I cannot phantom not having you as a client. But let's say we never met, our paths never crossed, but
Okay.
yet you still had the go, yeah, work with me, like this is real, like hot.
I'm zoning in.
But let's say our paths hadn't crossed the way they did. You didn't know about me, didn't know of any other LinkedIn expert or trainer coach, and you wanted to get results from LinkedIn. You were going to grow your business because and I don't know if we really talked about, you're a full-time corporate leader, right? And then you have your business that you started and you're growing. How would that process have been if you would have did it on your own?
Oh, okay. So I know you want me to talk hypothetical, but I'm going to just be realistic if you don't mind. As you all can see, I am who I am.
Authentically you. Yeah.
I still would have been struggle. It would have not. Yes, it may have grown, but I don't know that I really would have first off been able to take off as quickly because you're already giving me the knowledge and the tools from the onset. I don't have to learn the lessons on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching the lessons, you're giving the tools, you're working through the strategy. And so I may have started it, but I don't know that it really would have been as sophisticated and as efficient as possible. I'm really being honest. And I'll also be honest with you. I've seen other coaches out there, and there's no shade to them. But for me, again, and I know you're saying if we never met, but I don't believe in that. I think we still would have met because I believe in divine intervention. But I think it's very
you're stuck with me.
Alignment, right? So you understand my voice, you know who I am, you know really my strengths and you know what I'm trying to do. And so I'll just be honest with you. I don't know that I would be where I am today without that. And that is one of the best investments that I made into my business.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And I mean that. I mean that.
So,
It's unrehearsed.
nope. So full disclosure, transparency, because I'm all about transparency and being authentic. Um, Questions were presented in advance yesterday. I sent them to you, but we didn't go, back and forth with the answers or, okay, I need you to say this. And no, you just had the questions so that we could be, prepared and have an organized conversation. But so what if, let's say that our paths still had crossed.
Okay.
You decided not to be, still work with me hypothetically.
Okay.
You decided you decided not, you didn't make the decision to be a client, but yet you were part of my LinkedIn, my private Facebook group. And so you were attending my Power Surge chats and, soaking up that information, or attended a master class, one of my LinkedIn Power Moves master classes, or read my book, but yet didn't become an actual official client and get that direct one-on-one with the power session and other support. How would the process been different, do you think? Do you think you still would have the receipts that you have today? Let me just ask that.
I would not have the receipts that I have today. And let me just also say this, and it's so hard for me to do these hypotheticals because I'm such a realist and I'm just so raw.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Read my read my bio at the end. I talk about shoes, and shoes really being the window to the soul. So just like shoes, I invest in my shoes because my feet will not be hurting, my knees will not be hurting, and I will not go out here looking raggedy on purpose. Okay. So that's the same thing with my business. I'm going to invest. That's my baby. It's my legacy.
Right.
So I would be, in my terms, for me, and this is just for me, no one else, I would be foolish, and I would have been foolish not to take advantage of that opportunity. Even just the assessment in itself, just to take advantage of that for somebody to pour into me and then to not take that extra leap, it would have been foolish of me. And I would not really be here as quickly. I'm just being very honest with you. For me, there's just so many things that I take very seriously, and that is my health, my family, and my money. And and God is governed over all of that, creator, right, whatever you want to call him, as you call him in your spiritual walk. But for me, I just don't play with that. And so when the opportunity comes, I take the leap because I already know if I put the work in and I align with the right people, which you being one of them, that are smart and they know their ish. If I do the work, it's on and popping. And you already see, I'm all over this place. Like Independence Day, but Juneteenth for us.
Okay, so that's going to take the conversation somewhere totally different. So I'm going to just agree. Yes. So the investment part, let's talk about that. Not specifically the dollar amount, but it is where when you invest, then you have that commitment, right? And then you're going to put in the work, and some, more than likely, not everyone does, because some people still think it's magic. Something's supposed to happen like without putting the work in. But you made the investment not only with the power session, but then being a partner with my LinkedIn Live show as well. So and this is kind of a rhetorical question. How about that? Have you gotten a return on your investment?
Well, we always try to reference Stevie Wonder when when people should see the obvious, where it's like Stevie Wonder could see that. But I'm really going to be real with you. The investment was already more than tripled from the first engagement. Here's the thing. is that using it right and using it with the tools that you gave me. Do you know that I was able to network? I was able to sign contracts and deals without even leaving my house and putting on a suit,
Yes.
getting dressed up. I had to maybe, on camera for a couple of them, but even for some of them,
Right.
it was like, roll on, we're ready, we'll take you. We already know.
Without even seeing the people,
I didn't have
having
to
no
do
direct
that.
in person.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about because it's the pandemic. It's just the beauty of how this platform
Yes.
works.
Yes.
And you're networking with people that aren't there to just socialize, even though you build some personal relationships,
Yes.
which
Yes.
has been golden for me.
That's like the bonus part
It's
of it.
about business. It's
Yeah.
about business.
It's about, and that's what the platform is. So, all right. So, anything that you would like to add that we've not already talked about? Because we've gone through the questions, the main questions I had, but is there any other points that you would like to share with those who, really are still struggling with understanding the value of LinkedIn from an entrepreneur perspective, a business owner perspective, and really understanding the value of getting or having a LinkedIn coach to guide them through the process?
Here's my thing is that knowledge is only knowledge and power if you use it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are reasons why each of us don't know it all.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work with the subject matter experts if you want to go to another level. And
Mm-hmm.
if you engage with me, you hear me talk about all the time. And if you look at my content, operating in your higher frequency. So it's not even just about if you want something different, you got to do something different. It's about tapping into the right level of knowledge that you need for where you want to go. And so for me, I don't want to say anything more, but I offer this. So if anyone wants to inbox me or outreach to me and they want to ask me questions, feel free. I'm the type of person that the more I know, the more I want to give, right? It's not just about getting. I want
Mm-hmm.
to see us all pop. I want to see us
Yes.
all be a success. And I want to say, just like, hey, I know Clarine, and I refer people to Clarine. And the same way that people refer people to me, I want to do that for all of us. I mean, we're more powerful together. And when we ignite our individual powers, it's just this
Yes.
great synergy. So that's
Yes.
all I have to say. I'm just so excited. Oh, and then too, did you see, we didn't mention my business page. I have a LinkedIn business page too. That was also a part of the coaching as well. That was my next level up, and things are just popping there and people are engaging with me. And
Yes.
that's on a different level. So I'm getting different levels of C-suite executives that are engaging with me for more opportunities. So, I mean, the platform just does it. It just does it if you do the work.
That's what it's there for. And
If you
now is
build
the
it, they will
exciting.
come.
I'm sorry.
If you build it, they will come, like Field of Dreams.
Right. If you build it appropriately, though, not
Right.
just haphazardly or whatever. You build it appropriately based on best practices, the results will come. Right. So your company page. So everyone who is viewing this, listening, if you're not already connected to Rosalind Price on LinkedIn, please do send her a connection invite. Let her know that you were part of this episode. So that she has that reference point. Yeah, check out her profile. So she probably already knows, probably whenever I'm having a sales call and get someone random wherever they are in the world on her profile, and then she looks and see the one person in common is me, she knows that I have a sales call because I'm showing her profile and showing it off and showing what a profile can look like to get results, especially her about section. So really look at her profile, connect with her, check her profile out to see the potential that could be there and be yours as well. And her company page, follow her company page, R. Richard Price Consulting. Did I say it right?
Richard.
Richard. Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's spelled Richard, R. Richard Price Consulting. It's all good.
Never again will I mess up. R. Richard Price Consulting. We didn't talk about that before. Okay, so I'm going to say it right before, but check out her company page on LinkedIn. When she completed it and her website as well, like I was just so proud. Like I called her that night. Like I
I'm
was
surprised
like,
I didn't even tell you I was doing it.
No, and I wasn't gonna say that, but yes, I happened upon it. I'm like, wait, what? Like that's my Rosalind. Like I was so proud. Still am. So check them out. Connect with her. One more question though. So how have you been able to stay consistent? It's been over a year. You've not pulled back. You continue. How has that been possible?
You see this forehead? I have so much up here. I don't have to create a content calendar. I just, in the middle of the night, when I'm taking a shower, when I'm meditating, the content comes. I'm always observing. I'm always looking at things. You'll see that I use one of the techniques that Clarine teaches is I'll do a lot of polling questions too. And so from that and from those responses, I'll get content. I even take that and I can correlate that into content that I build for my collaboratives and in my partner relationships where I can create strategies for my clients as well. And so it's just a constant thirst to learn and observe and be aware and how to apply it to my business and to my audience.
Good for you. It needs to rub off on some others, but
rub. I'm rubbing.
Thank you so much. So we're going to wrap it up now. That's been the questions that I wanted to have the discussion. It's going pretty long, so I apologize for keeping you so long, Rosalind. Thank you for all those who are here. Do you have any questions for Rosalind? This is your opportunity. You can ask her now. I see in the chat, just, especially Daphne receipts. Yes, she's been, that can be, Rosalind receipts price. She has them. Hello. I can't see some of those who are in the chat right now because you didn't get StreamYard permission, but nice to have you here. Thank you. And hello. Other than Daphne, I'm not sure of who the other ones are. But any questions for Rosalind? Again, I wanted to have this conversation with her specifically for people to really see that entrepreneurs, business owners can get results from LinkedIn and not just little, like little low level hanging fruit kind of results like you can get on other platforms. But what did you say? Like multi-year contract kind of quality results, high level results that we can get from LinkedIn. So being able to hear it from one of my clients directly, again, this wasn't scripted. Like she shared, but you can check out her profile and see for yourself as well. But I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much, Rosalind Price, again, of our Richard Price Consulting. And maybe it's just because my Midwest way of talking, I can't get it and say it exactly. But, and also talk about, and then we're going to wrap up for real, your Facebook group.
Oh, so I do have a Facebook group as well, and it's called Mind the Transitions with Rosalind Price. Thank you for that, Clarine. And you guys can feel free to join. It's similar to what Clarine does with the LinkedIn content. I share content specific to transition and change strategies. And so I provide you with key resources and tools on how to build effective strategies, not just for yourself, but for your organizations that you lead, for your career development, and even personal transitions as well. And so that's free as well. And I do that every Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to go ahead and connect and make sure that you answer the questionnaire, and then I'll go ahead and admit you, and I'd love to have you in the space.
Great. Thank you so much again. And I'm going to end it here, but this has really been, I'm looking forward to watching the replay of this myself and taking notes, especially on all of your receipts. But thank you everyone for joining, and continue to shine, stand out, and own your brand, Rosalind.
Thank you so much. I had a ball, Clarine. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay safe.